Hopefully, I had this camera, this phone up in the on the dashboard there, and apparently it got too hot. So it shut down. So I'm going to put it over here in the shade. And we'll do it that way then. Okay, I'm back. And I could always do a little side shot there. You see the beautiful motorhome next to me and their car. All right. Let's see if that works. If that'll work. And then there's always this beautiful view of moi. Alrighty. So here I am in beautiful Sunnyside, Washington. Having my morning coffee. Had my breakfast. Over there's a Denny's right there at the end of the lot. And maybe I'll just shut this off for a little bit. Maybe I'll open the windows. Get some air in here. And oh yeah, it's a nice breeze coming through. Nice cool breeze. Well yeah, I had the phone up here on the dashboard, and apparently it got too hot and the thing shut down, and it said it was too hot to handle. So then I ended up just having to reboot the whole thing, and I apologize. I can't really see who's on. You know, I see there's a couple people on. I know Kiki Streets was on, and I guess if I push this, maybe I can see. Yeah, see the thing about it, it doesn't really show you who's on. So sometimes if you post something, it'll just flash on there real quick, and I can see who's on. But anyhow, thanks for being here. We're at 300. The last time I checked, 305 subscribers. Yee! All right, thanks for subscribing, everybody. We're at 305. My next goal is to get to 500. So let's do that. Let's make sure we like, share, subscribe, and we'll get to 500. So today on the show, what's going on the show? We got new decisions coming down from the Supreme Court. That sounds exciting. It just tells me that elections do have consequences. So people out there, if you don't like what the Supreme Court's doing, then stop voting for Republicans. That's all I gotta say about that. You know, tomorrow women are gonna find out they can't get a legal abortion in America anymore. You don't like that, and stop voting for Republicans. That's all I got to say about that. You know, don't crawl into a hole and disappear. Come November, you need to get out there and vote. You need to vote for Democrats. You need to vote blue. Anything that you think, you know, needs to be done, anything that's good that needs to be done, then you need to vote for Democrats. You know, if you want good, sensible gun safety laws, you need to vote for Democrats. You want safe, legal abortions, then you need to vote for Democrats. You know, you want to get off of all this big oil? You want to start going to a more green economy? Then you need to vote for Democrats. It's just that simple. It's really simple. That's all I got to say about that. Vote blue no matter who in 22 and every other election from then on out. Um, but anyhow, I'm here in Sunnyside, Washington. Yesterday, it was quite a day. Got up, started my day in, where did I start? In Snowville. That's right, I was in Snowville, Utah. And got kind of a late start. You know, I had slept in a little bit, had some breakfast, had to go get fuel, and then the truck, I've got about 90 miles into it, and then the truck started acting up on me a little bit. It started doing what they call a what the hell they call it, when it starts to limit your speed. It shuts your speed down. So I'm cruising along at 70, and then all of a sudden it just shuts me down. Well, not shuts me down, but it slows me down to 55. It's doing. There's a problem with the DEF. That's the diesel fluid, whatever it's called. So anyhow, I pull over at the weigh station right there past the state line, Utah, Idaho. There's a weigh station. The scales were closed. So I went around the scales and parked, and then I just did what's called a regen. That's where you just bump this idle up real high, like, I don't know, 2,000 RPM or whatever it is. Not 2,000. It's like, I guess it goes up to about 12 or 1,400. And it just sort of blows out, I guess, whatever's going on with inside those filters, those DEF filters. So it's temporary fix. It worked, but it's kind of something now I'm gonna have to go have them look at and see if those filters need replaced or whatever. Which is pretty expensive because I just had them replaced. Well, it's been, I guess it's been, gosh. Now that I think about it, maybe it's been longer than I thought. I guess it was, what year was that? 2019. So it's been about 3 years. I don't know. I thought they would last longer than that, but something I got to get looked into so it doesn't get worse and worse. So anyhow, I just stopped for that. That took about 45 minutes to do that, and then I got back on the road and made it up to Grandview at about 9:30, I think, at night, which is exactly what, you know, I thought it would be. Once I got going, you know, you see how many hours it is, how many miles it is, and you figure out the hours. And I pretty much kept to that pace, you know, once I did that regen. So got in at 9:30, dropped the load, picked up an empty, came down here to this beautiful spot right here in Sunnyside, and like I said, I don't know if anyone's on there. Let me see if I can see if this won't just wipe out the whole system here. If I just go on here and if I just go on here, see, that pisses me off because, well, anyhow. Okay, looks like Jolie is on. So hey, Jolie, you still on here? So see, I can see on here on there. I can't see who's on. So anyhow, so that's it. I wonder if I can put that there and not have the thing fall. That'd be pretty awesome. Hey, look at there, it works. Okay, so yeah, they took away the or for New York City, struck down their was it the permitting, where they required permits and stuff like that. And yeah, the cops will tell you, just making it harder for their job. And if everyone's just carrying guns, you know. I mean, here's what I think about it. Hey, all right, Julie. here's what I want to do. I want to go in because I think everything is being kind of, you know, based on the Heller decision. A lot of it, I guess. So I need to go into the Heller decision and really dig in deep on that. But my understanding is Antonin Scalia was the main guy who that we cite him for his opinions on it and his decision on it. And where apparently he said, okay, the Second Amendment does guarantee people to have guns for self-protection, and not just in the home, apparently. But he did say that there are restrictions on what you can have. You know, like you can't just carry a bazooka around. You can't just carry, you know, a rocket launcher around or whatever. That they can place restrictions on what guns you can own. So I need to go into the Heller decision and really study that, because I think that's really the basis of where everything since that decision, where we've really seen these some of these crazy laws where now there are states, I think Texas just did this, there's a handful of states where they just say the Second Amendment is your permit. That you can just carry a gun concealed wherever you want, whenever you want, and you don't need to get a CCP, you know. And I don't know how they're getting that, but Supreme Court declines the lack of democracy, so Bush and Trump. Well, yeah, that's the problem too. We have these illegitimate presidents. It always comes back to, we need to get rid of the Electoral College and we need to get big money out of politics. It's just this, it's like we're just chasing our tails here, you know. I mean, we have the loser in the popular vote winning and being placed into the White House because of the Electoral College. In 2000, it was because of the Supreme Court. And then they're in power, and then they appoint their judges, and then their judges pass things like Citizens United, and lets all this dirty money and dark money, you know, flood the system, flood the campaigns, helps getting more and more of these extremist right-wingers in the office. Yeah, so it's just this thing where we just keep going around. We need to do this, we need that, but it has to be this, and it has to be. So all I can say is we need to vote blue no matter who. And I know that sounds, I say it to my daughter, and my daughter's like 22, and she's like, she thinks that's the stupidest thing because it does sound so simple, I guess, and so, or almost like you're just being this brainless person who just votes based on a party. You're not voting because of their individual, whatever that individual's, you know, platform is, and their what they're running on. But I can tell you that, let's say you don't know who to vote for, and you're not really up on it. If you just voted blue, you just voted for Democrat, you'd be doing yourself a favor. Okay, I could, that's what I'll say about that. But because I've never voted for a Republican in my life, ever. I've been voting since 1980, or a little bit before in some local elections, because I turned 18 in 1978. The first presidential election was 1980. I've never voted, I didn't vote for Reagan. You know, I wasn't one of those Reagan Democrats, which I, to this day, don't understand that. I voted for Carter. And I've voted for Democrats and for president ever since. And for most of my, or I think for all of my, like, you know, U.S. senators and U.S. representatives. I remember there was a phase in the 90s where I was going, for some of the local elections, I was voting for, like, I don't know, Green Party and for libertarians and shit, but just a couple here and there. I mean, and I and then I kind of realized, well, yeah, I don't know about the Green Party. That at least at the local level in California, they seemed okay. But I kind of realized that these libertarians are really just like Republicans on steroids, you know. And so then I stopped doing that. I was like, oh wait, these guys are crazy. They just want to abolish everything. I mean, they think that somehow we can run a government of 300 million people without any type of, you know, revenue for the country, without, you know, they don't want taxes on anything. So they're just sort of these weird kind of dreamers, I think. So uh, so I did that a couple times, and I was like, no, that these. I found out more about that party, and I'm like, oh, they're just crazy. They're just like, they're even worse than Republicans. But yeah, to get a super majority, like, okay, if we're talking about the U.S. Congress, you know, if we keep the House, we keep the White House, and then the Senate, you know, the super majority is like, what, 60, or is it more than 60? 66 or whatever, but if we show up to vote, we can do it. But it seems there's so many people that they fall for the propaganda, the right-wing propaganda, and they are kind of brainwashed. I mean, my cousin, he comes on here. In full disclosure, you know, Danny Rock comes on here. That's my first cousin. We're exactly 1 month to the day apart. I'm older by 1 month. And we grew up together, and we were like brothers pretty much, because he was an only child. I was an only child until I was like 16, and then I had a brother and a sister. But for all intents and purposes, you know, growing up, my childhood, I was an only child. And my cousin, we're the same age, and we grew up relatively close. I mean, I was out in the desert, and he grew up mainly out down in the valley, San Fernando Valley. And then when he became a teenager age, like in junior high, they actually moved up to where we lived, and so we were really close, and we were like brothers pretty much, you know. But now we kind of don't talk to each other, and even my real brother and real sister, we don't talk to each other, all because all since Trump. I mean, before Trump, we had differences and opinions in politics. My brother and sister, for some reason, are a complete opposite of me. I've always been a Democrat. I've always voted for Democrats. I've been a liberal. They're 16 and 18 years younger than I am, and they are total right-wingers to the bone. Ever since they could vote, you know, they've been voting for Republicans, and so during the Bush years, even though we didn't agree, we were fine, you know. And then when Obama was elected, we were still fine. You know, they didn't like Obama. But then when Trump came in, it just changed everything. It's made this country so divided, and so almost like, it's almost like we can't, it's like a bridge too far. I really can't. Well, as time is going on, but especially in 2016 when Trump first got elected, that was pretty devastating. I was devastated because I couldn't believe that the American people would elect that clown, a total clown. That's what I thought of him at the time, and now I think he's not more than a clown. He's a con man, and he's a crook, total crook, and he's a bastard. But I was pretty devastated by that one, because I was I voted for Bernie in the primary. Then when Hillary got the nomination, I was completely happy with Hillary. Okay, and I was looking forward to her being president. I thought she would have made a fantastic president. I think she would have been way better than her husband. I think she learned, hopefully, her and the Democratic Party hopefully have learned from this sort of you know, almost Republican light strategy that they had in the 90s. I think she's learned from all of that. I think the Democratic Party was ready to be a little bit more progressive, and I think Bernie brought that on through his, you know, in that 2016 campaign. He won a lot of primaries, and he got a lot of support, and that really did kind of wake up, I think, a lot of people in the Democratic Party. I kind of mumble, sorry about that. But so I think Bernie has been instrumental in helping to move the party a little bit more to the left. I think Hillary would have been fantastic. She would have been better than her husband. She would have been better than Obama, and I like Obama. But I think, you know, Obama had a strategy, and he had his personality, and he was trying to, and he knew what he had. He had to deal with Mitch McConnell, you know, and he had to with all that obstructionism. So he, for what he had, he was really, I think, pretty genius, really. I mean, to go up against those odds. And if Hillary would have won, and if she could have had better support in the Senate, then I think that she could have done even a better job, or at least gotten more done than even Obama did. But it didn't. You know, it wasn't to be. There was certainly Russian collusion, not saying that actual votes were actually tampered with or anything like that, but the collusion part of it is that people from Trump's campaign, his campaign manager, was giving Russians their campaign polling information, you know, and they were micro-targeting these places in these swing states just enough so they could swing enough votes. You know, they could ply these people with misinformation and disinformation, and make a lot of these voters disinterested in either not voting at all or in voting for Trump. And it was just enough. It was that, you know, that Michigan and Pennsylvania and those states, it's just enough where it came out to just, you know, 30,000 votes here and 30,000 votes there or whatever. It was just enough to get that electoral vote that Trump needed. So even though he lost by 3 million votes to Hillary, we ended up with this clown and this jackass who just set us back like 50 years, you know. I mean, and these sycophants, these followers of Trump, they want to say like how much they want him back because the economy was so much better and things were so much better under Trump, and he was destroying the economy. We were losing jobs. You know, Biden has already created more jobs in the first year and a half than Trump did in all 4 years, you know. So don't tell me that Trump was so great with the economy, because he wasn't. This guy in the motorhome's trying to start his car. I don't have any jumper cables. Well, actually, I think I do. Anyhow, he kind of looked at me like, what are you doing? Looking at me. I'm scared. No, I'm not scared. I have my tire thumper with me. Anyhow, okay, so we got stuck with Trump, and it was horrible for me. And Trump brought out so much, like, it's not that we're any more racist, he just brought them all out into the light. And they emboldened so many of these bigots and these racists, these misogynists. And he made country into, especially into a path of really becoming like The Handmaid's Tale. And every time I see these Texas and Florida and some of these states, you know, putting in some of these laws and stuff, I go right back to The Handmaid's Tale. That's what we could become if we keep going down that right wing path. And they don't see it. They just want it to say how great Trump was, and then and they're so afraid that they're going to lose their guns, and they're so afraid. I don't know what else they're afraid of. They don't want to lose their guns. For some reason, they think that. I mean, these are people that. I mean, I don't know. Who cares? Like, what do I care if there's a woman walking by and she's pregnant, and I don't know her at all. Whatever she's doing with her life, that's her business, right? I mean, if she wants to terminate her pregnancy or not, for whatever reason, it doesn't have to be just for rape and incest. It doesn't have to be because it's a risky pregnancy, and she could just do it because she doesn't want to. She should have that right. And these people will get really adamant about how, you know, this is the sanctity of life, and it's fine. Just, you know, do your own thing, man. Don't. It exasperates me. And so finally, you know, we got to the point. Some of my family members where we can't even talk anymore. You know. I was gonna put this down. There we go. Just put my just to rest on it. But, and I've heard story after story of that happening to families, where families don't even talk to each other anymore. Just since Trump, like we could get through Bush, our differences of W, and even going back into Reagan and the first Bush, we all got through that. We got through W. Then they got through Obama, you know. Because they hated Obama just as much as we hated Bush, you know. And then, but then Trump, man, Trump was the divider. He was the great divider. And I'm not sure what it'll take to get us back together as families and as country people, you know. What's it going to take, man? I mean, we certainly don't want a return of anything like Trump, and they hate Biden. They hate Kamala Harris. They're going to hate whoever we put up, you know. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, all I can say is we all need to vote. Generally speaking, the higher the turnout, it's usually a better outcome for Democrats. So we need to turn out, and we need to keep the House for sure. If we could pick up some seats in the House, that'd be great. And we definitely need to pick up seats in the Senate. We can't lose any. We cannot lose not one. Now, Manchin and Sinema, they're not up, I don't think, for a while yet, for another few years. But if they were up, we can't lose them. If they're going to be replaced, they have to be replaced with a Democrat, or we have to pick up other seats, you know, other Senate seats to make up for that. If we did, if Sinema loses eventually, or Manchin, and they go red, and then we got to not only make up those two seats, then we still need to make up more. So we're not always on this razor thin, you know, 50-50 tie with the vice president breaking the tie. Unless we can get rid of the filibuster. I mean, I'm all for that too. Get rid of that goddamn filibuster. It's stupid. And then the people say, well, when the Republicans have power, that's what, you know, that's what democracy is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like if you win, and of course if you win honestly, a lot of times Republicans, cheat anyhow, but maybe the filibuster is sort of a guard against the Republicans cheating to get into office. But my, just in a general sense, is that, all things being fair, all things being, when the elections are all free and fair and everybody's in there fairly, if the Republicans win back the majority in the Senate, then get rid of. I say still get rid of the filibuster and let them do whatever they want to do. That's the way it's supposed to be. The majority power is supposed to have the majority, and they're supposed to get their things through. And my contention, I guess, would be that if either they would, the American people would be, would hate so much of the stuff that they're passing through that they would finally say, hey, we better get up and vote for Democrats, and get them out of office. Or they would just like it. They like having more and more shootings and more children being slaughtered. Maybe the majority of the American people like that. I don't know. Maybe they like women having to try to get abortions in back alleys and bleeding out and dying. Maybe the majority of people like that. I don't know. Maybe they'll like just having our air and water just become more and more filthy because we're just going to stay on oil and fossil fuels, and maybe they dig all that shit, but they don't. It all comes down to it keeps coming down to we need to show up, we need to vote, and we need to get Democrats into these offices and get those majorities that we need so we can pass the laws that we need. But, sometimes it's like a long, winding road, But I did notice, as far as fuel prices, I'm just looking at Kinky Streets there. See, the last few times I got fuel, I go from, I travel so much, so it's hard to say what the trend is. I guess I could look it up on, but like I got fuel. Okay, remember I got fuel in California. I guess it was last week. It was like $6.99 a gallon. Then I got fuel in Arizona. I think it was like $6.40 a gallon. Then I got fuel in Wyoming, and it was only like $5.80? It's in the fives a gallon. So that was nice. It's dropping down to that. But then I got fuel in, where did I get fuel last? I had to get fuel. Oh, I guess it was in Utah. Oh yeah, it's Snowville, and that was back up to $6 something in Utah. It was back up to like, I forget what it was, $6.40 or something. So I don't know what California is because I haven't been in California for since that last time. I think it's been almost a couple weeks or a week and a half. So but I did, when I was in Utah getting fuel at the pump, I got another one of these stickers. Oh. To add to my collection. The one on the right was on the pump, so I peeled that off. I'm just gonna keep whenever I see one, I'll just peel it off, and I like collect. I'm kind of a hoarder. No, I don't know. I like to collect things. So keep putting them out, people, so I can add to my collection. You know. So anywho, I got that going for me. I got my sticker collection going of Joe Biden saying, I did that, I did that, no, I did that, I did that, I did that. And people are just so stupid because, they're like, this has been going on, whenever the gas prices go up, since, I don't know, probably since Carter, but it seems like it's always, whenever a Democrat is in office and the gas prices go up, that everybody blames the president, whoever it is. Especially during Obama and now with Biden. But it seems like when Bush was the president and gas prices went up, I don't remember people saying, that's your fault, Bush. Bush did this. They don't blame the fucking Republican president when gas prices go up. All they do, see, this is all you hear, and is through the media even, is like when the economy is going good under a Republican, or the gas prices are good under a Republican, they'll actually give that president credit. But when things are going good under a Democrat, they don't say fucking shit, hardly. It's not a peep, So don't tell me, and this is how Sparks, that the corporate media doesn't have their biases. They do have their fucking biases. Man. It's ridiculous. They're right there with the Republicans when it comes to playing favorites. They give the Republicans all kinds of credit for all kinds of shit. And then when the Democrats are in there, all they do is accentuate the negatives, And it's really fucked up. I get tired of it. But, all we can do is keep going, keep at it, because it's the one thing I can do. I can vote, and I vote for Democrats. I think they're better. I've always identified with the Democrats ever since I was a kid. I grew up in a working class family. My dad was a cement worker, worked at a cement plant for 50-something years. And he was, he started off as a general laborer. He got into heating and ventilation and maintenance, and then and he was a union guy. He was a union officer in the local union. And I remember watching Watergate. I was like 11, 12 years old, and I saw all the Watergate shit going on in the hearings, and I hated Nixon. And I've hated Republicans. I shouldn't say hate. Some people think hate is they really got religious on you when you start talking about hate. But I just never liked the Republicans. I never liked Nixon. And I can remember in the 1972 election, my dad knew, because I told him, because I had conversations, because I was like the only one in the house, I think, that was watching the Watergate hearings. My dad was always working, doing stuff. My mom was cleaning house or whatever. Didn't really care. They're really kind of like non-political people, But I was watching the hearings with rapt attention, I really was into it. And I remember telling my dad, and my mom, this Nixon is a crook. And here I am, I'm like 11 years old, and I'm telling him, Nixon is a crook, and he needs to be impeached, is what I said. And I remember that the election came around, and my dad went and voted, and I was in my room, and I had a dartboard in my room, and I remember I was playing darts, and my dad comes in, coming back from voting, and he goes, "Here, I got something for you," and he handed me this pin. It was, you know, those little like election pins that people wear, and it said Nixon now. And I just got so angry. I was so mad. And to tell you the truth, I don't even know if my dad voted for Nixon or if he was just fucking with me. I don't know. To this day, I don't know. But I remember I got so mad, and I just looked at it, and I was just like, ugh! And I went to the dartboard, I put that pin, I stuck it into the dartboard, and I walked back, and I took a dart, and I just wound up and threw it like I was Nolan Ryan, and I just, you know, threw it as hard as I could, and I hit that thing pretty much dead center, and drove that dart right through that metal. It was a metal pin, drove it right through the middle of it. And then my dad, he went up and looked at it, and he's like, he looked at me, and he's just kind of like shaking his head. He's like, man, all that anger, that's not good, man. That's not good to be angry like that. And then he just walked out. And I just always kind of assumed that he voted for Nixon, but to tell the truth, I don't even know, because we didn't really talk about specific things like that, or I don't remember. It's been a long time ago. But he was a union guy, and he was you know, so I can't imagine him voting for Nixon, but maybe he did, because I think later on, I think he voted for Reagan, and I think later on he voted for you know, W and all that stuff. So, but you know, I love my dad. He's passed away, but you know, of course, I love my dad. But it's disappointing that we've always had these divisions, I guess, in our family. But I'm not even sure what point I was trying to make. I guess the point is that I've never, yeah, I was talking about, I'm a Democrat. I never liked Nixon. Jerry Ford was, talk about clowns. The guy was an idiot. He was, no one, not even Republicans liked him. He got his ass kicked by Carter. I liked Jimmy Carter. I thought he was a great man, great president. I loved what he was doing. I loved his stance on the environment and on, you know, social issues and things. And then he got really set up really bad by, I think that when, you know, when the hostages were taken in Iran, and the hostage crisis went on, that was all a setup, and we know that a lot from the Iran-Contra hearings and everything else. But then when he tried to do that rescue attempt with, like, I think it was a SEAL team or whatever, and it crashed in the middle of the desert, Sahara Desert or whatever, and I think everyone died, and he just it was like, that's it. And I remember when that happened. So at that time, I was like, I guess I was in high school or whatever. As soon as I saw that report of that helicopter going down and everyone dying, and they were going to do this like rescue mission, I just said, that's it. Carter's going to lose now, just because of that. Because I knew that they were going to paint this as being like a Carter failure, even though he wasn't flying the damn helicopter. He's not the one that made that whatever happen, that malfunction happen, you know. But I knew that the media and everything, it was going to just bombard the airwaves with that Carter's is a fuck up, basically, is what the sentiment was. And then from then on, it seemed like Reagan just really gained in popularity. I can remember I think it was the 76 election, I think Reagan was running then, and then he dropped out. And I remember hearing the news report of Reagan dropping out of that early in the primaries, I think in 76. And I was with my parents, and we were driving around in the car somewhere, and I was like, so at this time, I guess I'm like 15 or whatever, and I remember I was in the back seat, and they were talking about Reagan dropping out, and I remember just kind of laughing and going, Reagan's a clown, you know. And then my mom heard that, and then she just said to my dad, she's like, John says Reagan's a clown. And they kind of laughed, like they thought I was funny or something, like they thought it was funny, I guess, that I would say Reagan was a clown or something. And And I was just at that. I remember at that time just thinking, that's it for Reagan. You know, we don't have to worry about him, and he's done politically. But then, God damn it, in 1980 he runs again, and they do all this fucking shady ass shit to really fuck up Carter. Carter's, you know, fuck up his reputation and his image. And that whole Iran-Contra was all, you know, those motherfuckers should have been thrown in jail, like Ollie North and, you know, the whole Reagan administration. They're all complicit in that bullshit. So as you can see, I'm not a Republican, even though, you know, there's a lot of people around me that are Republicans apparently. But I've never voted for a Republican, and I never will. Every time we have Republicans, it seems like everything goes to shit. You know, and then the Democrat gets in just long enough to clean up their fucking shit, and then they get voted out, and Republicans come back in, and they do it all over again. They fucking run the economy into the fucking ditch for 8 years or 12 years, like when we had Reagan and Bush Sr., you know, and then we get the Democrats in there, and they clean everything up, they get the economy rolling, they get the debt started to get paid down, they get, you know, deficits taken care of, they get all this shit, and then they, for whatever reason, get voted out. The people get complacent, they don't vote, and then the fucking Republicans come in and they fuck everything all up all over again. And that's what we need to stop, that cycle. And that's what I agree with Hal when he says, hey, give me the next, you know, whatever cycles, he says, you know, and let's see what we can do. Let's win the next, I'd like to, you know, win all of them, but let's get some Democratic power in there for the next 12 years or 16 years, you know, or 20 years, and then see what kind of progress we can make, you know, all the inroads we can make on the environment, on the economy, you know, and stop believing this bullshit scare tactics that the Republicans will throw at you, like, oh, you know, Democrats aren't good on national security or all this kind of bullshit, and they're going to destroy our military just because maybe they don't want to dump as much money into it. We're still going to always be the biggest military in the world, even with, you know, no matter what. And I think that's fine. I don't have a problem having the biggest military in the world, but I do think that sometimes we need to, you know, it's not like that's the only thing, you know. There are other things that are just as important. So I don't know. Just we need to just keep voting for we need to get these Republicans out, or else we will end up being like Handmaid's Tale. Okay? We will see people hung up on a wall, you know, or from a tree just because, you know, just because they don't comply with the Christian nationalist point of view or whatever that they're trying to dump on everyone, you know. Just, you know, God forbid if a woman doesn't want to carry a pregnancy to term. God forbid if a couple are maybe you know, biracial or mixed couple or whatever. You know, God forbid there's you know, same-sex couples. They want to get rid of all of that, you know. And that's where we're headed unless we vote. Elections have consequences, people. Elections have consequences. So if you don't show up and you let the Republicans take over and you start losing all kinds of rights, then who are you going to blame? And, you know, and I'm talking as a whole, because people say, well, I voted for Democrat. I voted for Democrat. And they still lost or whatever. Well, yeah, it takes more of us, you know. It takes a will, a strong will to keep going. And at the end of the day, I mean, I know there are stories of people waiting in line for 8 hours or 12 hours and all that kind of stuff. That's pretty hard. I'll give you that much. But for the most part, for most people, I don't think it's that hard. I mean, I've never waited more than 5 minutes to vote. and then since I became a truck driver, I mostly vote absentee. Even before the pandemic, I was doing absentee voting and stuff, voting by the mail. But I know a lot of these states, they want to make voting harder and harder. But you just gotta rise up against it, man, and just vote, so that it won't be hard. Because once you get Democrats in there, we will have more and more voting by mail. Well, voting by mail is like the easiest thing. You know, you just fill it out, sign it, seal it, stick it in a mailbox. If you can stick it in the mailbox, you don't have to go to a voting box if it's early enough. You know, and then if you're afraid it's not gonna get there on time, then you go and you put it into a voting box or whatever, or to your precinct, you know, or whatever. But voting is, overall, generally speaking, isn't that hard. And so I don't know. It's like we've got 350 million people. Not all of them can vote, obviously, not children. So I don't know how many eligible voters we have. 100 million, 150 million people, 180 million. I don't know that are of 200 million. I don't know. I'm probably less than 200 million, but however many voters. Let's just say it's 150 million people that would be eligible to vote in this country, and we get far, far less than that. We don't need 100%, but it seems like if we get anything over 50% or approaching 60%, or you get around 60%, people are like, wow, that's a big turnout. And a lot of times, in a lot of elections, even going down to local elections and state elections, the turnout's even way less than that. A lot of times, it's, you know, you're lucky if you get 20 or 25%. A lot of times, you're in just the teens, percentage-wise. But if we could get people to show up, and, you know, we're 55, 60, 65, 70, 75% of the eligible. I mean, if you got 75% of the eligible voters to show up, my God, that would be amazing. And that would be, you know, all you need, really. I mean, you don't need 100%. When you start saying 100%, then that's usually when it's some, you know, really sketchy place that just forces everyone to vote, and they force them to all vote for, you know, Putin or whatever. So I'm not saying we need 100% turnout, but it would be nice if we could get 70, you know, 65, 70, 72, you know, that'd be nice. And I don't see why that is like such an impossible dream or such an outlandish thing to say, you know. But so we need to get turnout. Go to vote.org, like Hal's always saying, Hal Sparks. You can tag that on your posts, your vote.org, really get the message out about voting. I gotta hydrate. That coffee dehydrated me, I think. And let's vote these goddamn Republicans out. Stop. America, listen to me. I'm a truck driver. Okay, what is your impression of a truck driver? When someone says that they're a truck driver, what's the first thing you think of? You probably think, oh, he's a Trumper, he's MAGA, you know, which is fine with me if you think that. But I'm not any of those things. I'm a liberal Democrat all my life, always have been, and so. If you're tired of Republicans getting in there and mucking everything up, then you need to get out and vote. You need to stop voting for Republicans. Okay, that's all I got to say. Stop voting for Republicans. I'm a Democrat, so of course I'm going to vote for Democrats. I'm going to vote blue no matter who. Not only in 22, but probably, unless things radically, you know, change or something. But stop voting for Republicans. They're not doing things in your best interest. Unless you're a billionaire, then maybe. If you're a billionaire, a multi-billionaire, then I'll say go ahead and vote for Republicans, because that's really all that they're there for. You know, to make sure that you don't pay any taxes, and if you, in whatever companies or industries you might be involved with, that you can have most of the regulations stripped away so that you can just do whatever you want, you know. So if that's what you are, then go ahead, vote for Republicans, because that's the only ones that are benefiting. Everybody else, the rest of us who are just working for a living and trying to get by and survive, then you need to stop voting for Republicans. Hey, look, it doesn't matter to me, and I don't see why it should matter to you what a woman's choices are and her reproductive choices. That's none of my business. It shouldn't be any of my business. And also, I should feel like I can go to a supermarket or to a movie theater, and I'm not going to have some dumbass 18-year-old punk come in and shoot up the place, you know, with an assault weapon, you know, that he just bought on his 18th birthday or some bullshit, you know. I shouldn't have to live in that kind of a world. So stop voting for Republicans. Republicans are bringing all this shit on us. And they lie through their fucking teeth. Their teeth is. And, so anyhow, vote.org, vote blue. And I guess that's all I gotta say. I guess that's all I got to say about that. I'm gonna go home now. I'm done. Okay, so maybe that's it for today. I don't know. I've been just kind of rambling on. I'm here, Sunnyside, so remember, let's get we broke 300 in my subscriptions, and, oh, I'm up to 321 subscriptions. I think I only had like 305 this morning or something like that. Could I possibly have gotten like 16 subscriptions? That's awesome. Jolie finished watching Ozark. What did you think of it, Jolie? Remember did I spoil it too much for you? I hope I didn't spoil it too much for you. If anybody's on here, there might be some Ozark spoilers coming up. So, just a warning, you might want to plug your ears, because I want to know what Jolie thought about Ozark and the thing that I was talking about, that I said I was pissed off about. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about that certain character that there's a certain character that gets killed, and it really pissed me off. I didn't think it was right. I very rarely question stuff like that, but I just didn't think it was right. I just did not agree with it, because I think out of all the people, she was the one that, see, hopefully I'm not spoiling it for anybody, because I'm kind of giving it away, but I don't know. I think she deserved redemption. I think she earned it. You know? It just wasn't right. It didn't sit with me well. You know? Yeah, or at least let her go and be happy. I don't know. It just didn't. It still doesn't sit with me that they did that. I just felt like I don't know. Like it was a cheap ploy, a writer's ploy, a trick, just to really tug at your heartstrings or whatever, you know. I don't know. I didn't like that. That's the one thing I did. But still, it was a great show and everything. But okay, I don't want to talk too much about it in case anybody else comes on, and I don't want to spoil it for them. But I'm glad you watched it and got that out of the way. You know what? I'm looking over here because I've got the chat on my iPad, And so it looks like I guess I should be looking over here, huh? You know, because it probably looks weird that I'm always looking over here. But anyhow, because on here I can't really see, like your chat came up for like a second and it's gone now. But here it'll stay on here and I can actually see it. So you like sci-fi mostly? I like sci-fi. I like a little bit of everything. I guess, yeah. I dabble in everything. You know. Like, let's see. I was gonna watch last night. I was gonna watch something. I was just too tired. I just went to sleep. I was gonna watch. I think I was gonna watch some more of that Russian Dolls show, but then I was too tired. I'll probably watch it tonight. Like right now, I'm here. I've been checking the load board to get a load out of here, and so far nothing has come up. I checked last night. I checked this morning. As soon as I'm done here, I'll check again. So in the meantime, I might just be parked here. There's a Best Western hotel right up the hill. I might go get a room if nothing's going on. You know, for the rest of the day. I might be here till tomorrow, so I might just get a room. You know, when there's like this isn't really. I guess you could call it a truck stop because it's full of trucks, and they have a CAT scale, and they have diesel fuel bays. I'm not even sure if they have showers. I think they might have some showers in there, but it's not like a regular. It's not like a Flying J or anything. It's just like a Shell station, and I don't remember. They might have a couple showers in there, but anyhow, I think I'd rather just go get a hotel or something. Oh yeah, Kiki, yeah, you rotate them. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of the Star Wars stuff, and I watched Lost in Space. The new season, I watched the first episode, and like I was telling, was it Jolie? I guess it was Jolie, right? We're talking about that, where I didn't even know they were going to have a season 3. I thought the show got killed, and then all of a sudden season 3 popped up, so that was cool. And I don't really watch Star Trek for whatever reason. You know, like when I was a kid, I watched the original series. And then those original movies that they came out with Nimoy and Shatner and all those. And then, I don't know, somewhere along the line, I just sort of lost interest, I guess. And then, you know, the series, they had all those different series with Picard and all that. And I never really started watching it, so that after a certain point, you kind of feel like you're out of the loop, you know. And I never did catch up on it. I remember watching a few episodes here and there, so I kind of know who Picard is, and I kind of know who Data is, and I kind of know there's like the LeVar Burton guy and he wears those weird glasses, stuff like that. But I don't really know much about it. So you're really into Star Trek? Yeah, and it's quite a franchise. They've got so many spin-offs and everything, and all right, Jolie, you take care. Probably, let's see, today's Thursday. I guess Hal going to be on at 3 or at 4? Because with his kids with him and his mom's with him, so he might be on at 3, I think, right? 3 Pacific. Because usually on Thursdays he goes on at 4. But I forget what he said he was going to do today. So yeah, it'll either be 3 Pacific or 4 Pacific, I guess. So probably see you guys over there. I'll say hi. I'll give you a shout out. And but yeah, so it's been I've been on for about an hour. I usually do about an hour, I guess. So I'm probably going to sign off pretty quick. So thanks for everyone who's on here. Thanks to all the new subscribers. We're up to 321. Remember, the goal is 500. That's my new goal for 500. And yeah, Phil Ittner's on there, and it's great watching his reports from Ukraine. So go check out Phil Ittner also on his YouTube page, and you can see stuff that he's doing there on the ground in Ukraine. And but anyhow, I was saying thanks to all the new subscribers. Be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Let's get the word out. And remember, I'm here every Tuesday, Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, and I'll see you then. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Thanks, Kinky Streets, for being here. Thanks, Jolie, for being here and participating. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday from who knows where, huh? Alrighty. Oh, yeah, I like to do my little outro music. Pretend like I'm some kind of a show, you know? You know what I mean? If it'll work. Let's see if it'll work. Hello, my name is John Fowler. All right, everybody. Thanks for showing up. I'll see you next Tuesday from somewhere in the United States of America. From a truck stop. From a rest area. Maybe even a Walmart parking lot. It's John Fowler, OTR. Thanks, everybody. Ciao.